And also there's a viral video of Zendaya showing her dislike to Blake.
Yeah, we've lost some talk.
Hi, welcome to Flossom Talk. I'm Sash Flo, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on delusion. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. And thank you to everyone who tuned in yesterday on a Sunday to watch my episode. And a big thank you to all my new subscribers, to everyone who joined Flossom Talk. You can also join by pressing join under here, and also hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Flossom Talk. There's so much to talk about today, you guys. So, of course, there's a lot of conspiracies surrounding Taylor Swift's new album, and I will debunk some of them. This is so obvious to me what's going on right now, and I'll get into that as well with Blake Lively's PR team here. Also, Taylor's been giving some more interviews, and it's just so clear to me that Blake and Taylor are not friends. Also, Ryan Reynolds is working really hard right now to keep the focus away from what's really going on in this legal feud. This Van Zandt sham lawsuit that might have catastrophic consequences for both him and Blake, which I talked about yesterday. You should watch that video. Ryan is working overtime to convince people that he's such an amazing guy with such good qualities. Also, Keith Urban's out there again, changing up their lyrics again. We'll talk a little bit about that. And also there's a viral video of Zendaya showing her dislike to Blake. Yes, there are more people who doesn't really care for Blake Lively. And there's a viral video of Jennifer Lopez being asked about her divorce, and she doesn't like it. Okay, let's just jump into this ridiculous news story that got legs. Us Weekly covered it, and a lot of content creators pointed this out, and I think it's so dumb. So on the cover of Taylor Swift's new album, she's wearing a bracelet from Lauren Swartz, who we also know Blake Lively is a big fan of. She's always wearing her jewelry. And at the premiere of It Ends With Us, Blake Lively was wearing a bracelet from Lauren Swartz as well. And now people are saying that this is the same bracelet. First of all, they have no similarities. They're just like filled with crystals or whatever it is, but they don't even look the same. And then it's like, oh, Taylor is giving a nod to Blake Lively. No, she's not. I can guarantee you that she probably has a deal with Lauren Swartz, and she probably had for a long time, and she's wearing her jewelry. I bet the headpiece is also from Lauren Swartz. I might be wrong about that. But you know, that's how these things work. You do brand deals, and Blake has done a brand deal with Lauren Swartz. She's worn her jewelry for a very long time. And now it's like they're friends because both of them are wearing a bracelet from the same designer. Come on. And you have to remember now, you have to keep in mind now that we've got to see a little bit inside these PR companies and how they actually work and how this crisis management team works, we know that every little detail that hits the press, it's not a coincidence. This is Blake Lively's team working really hard to try to convince people that Taylor and Blake are okay. Because their fallout has hurt Blake Lively's reputation enormously. So whoever planted this story gave it to Us Weekly, gave it to some content creators who were like, look at this is no coincidence, this is an Easter egg, whatever. No, it's not. And another story that was everywhere the other day, that Blake Lively liked Taylor Swift's album. And of course, that fueled the rumor again that they're friends because Blake liked Taylor's album. There's this story on page 6, and I followed the link to the post that they actually said that Blake liked. And when I click on it, I couldn't find that Blake Lively had actually liked it. I couldn't find that Blake had liked any of Taylor's post from her new album. If you can find that like, please send it to me because I couldn't find it. And when you click on something and you see the people that liked, the people that you follow and that liked a post, and I follow Blake, I do, because I need to know what she's up to. And I couldn't see that she'd liked anything. Of course, if she did like something, her team probably had like a 5-hour meeting about it. Should she like the post? Who can we call and say that she liked the post? I'm sure Daily Mail, Page 6, Us Weekly, they're all going to pick up this like story. And of course they did. As I said, I don't know who planted this, but it's obvious that this is what Blake Lively's team is doing. Like, they are in high gear right now, trying to fix this friendship in the public eye. One thing is clear, Blake and Taylor has not been seen together since August 26th of last year. That's when Taylor invited Blake and Ryan to her house to celebrate Blake's birthday. Since then, they have not been seen in public together. And when people are saying that that song Cancelled cannot be about Blake because the album was finished in 2024, you have to keep this in mind. Blake already had planned to sue Justin Baldoni back in September of last year. On September 27th, they filed that lawsuit against these anonymous people to get hold of Justin Baldoni's publicist's phone. And that phone had been in the possession of Stephanie Jones, also Baldoni's publicist, who went over to the other side. But she had already seen that phone. She had had access to that phone for about 3 to 4 weeks at that point, and Blake knew about that. And they started planning this lawsuit already, probably in late August, September of last year. And we know that New York Times started working on this article already back in October of last year. And we know that this blackmailing story between Blake and Taylor, when Blake called her or texted her or whatever, if this happened, this could have happened at that birthday party for all we know, because they hadn't been seen together since then. She said to Taylor, you have to delete the text messages between us that's regarding this subject. And if you don't support me in public against all this backlash that I'm receiving in the public eye right now, because during that birthday party, this was in the middle of Blake Lively's public crash. This was in the middle of what Blake would call the alleged smear campaign against her. And she said to Taylor, if you don't support me in public during this time now, I will release and leak all the text messages that you sent me from the last 10 years. So keep that in mind, that we knew about this blackmailing in 2025 when Taylor's dad called or contacted Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, and told him this. But that doesn't mean that this blackmailing and this friendship, the end of this friendship, happened in 2025 after Blake Lively had filed her lawsuit. I believe that this happened much earlier on, and that's also a reason why we didn't see any footage of Blake and Taylor together since this happened, since this birthday party. So for people to say that this couldn't have been about Blake because they didn't have a fallout in 2024, I think that's completely false. And Taylor was on the Eras Tour until December 8th of last year. So if she worked on her record up till that point, this could totally be about Blake. I'm not buying any of this. Taylor still hates Blake and they will never be friends again. I can't say it enough time. She also did an interview on BBC Two. She's doing a lot of radio interviews in the UK right now to promote her album. And she talked about how her friends were so good at keeping secrets. And that's why she has such a close circle of friends, because this host was asking, how could you keep this album a secret for so long? Even the record label didn't know that she had an album coming out. And she said, because I trust my friends. And then she said this.
My friends don't rat. They do not rat. They know about my life. They know what's going on with me. They do not snitch. Yeah. It is phenomenal. I've got a really good circle of friends. It takes a while to get there.
Well,
thank you. I feel so proud about that. My friends know everything, just like anybody's friends know everything. And the thing is that they just don't.
How could she be friends with someone who threatened to expose all our text messages to the world if she doesn't like rats? How could anyone ever be friends with someone who did something like that? Another thing here, which is really important to remember, is that Taylor or no one from Taylor's camp came out and denied any of this when it happened. When Brian Friedman filed this affidavit swearing that this is true, that he spoke to someone very close to Taylor, who we now know is Taylor's dad, when that happened, no one from Taylor's camp came out and denied it. If she was a friend to Blake and that was not true, she would be just horrible for not denying this to have happened. As we've seen so many times lately, whenever there's a little rumor out there, someone from Taylor's camp will come out and leave a comment about it. Her attorneys will leave comments about it. They were very quick to comment on Baldoni's lawsuit when he was trying to depose her and he was trying to drag her into it. They came out instantly and commented on that. But with this, she would just leave that out there without commenting on it if it wasn't true. And if it is true, as we know it is, how on earth would she ever be friends with someone like that again? Another thing that I noticed that Blake did this week, I didn't think about it instantly, but now I see this, what's going on here. Remember, I spoke about this post that Blake Lively published on her Instagram when she was baking. She was making a cake out of a stuffed bunny that her kids love so much. And she was showing it. And she was showing all the different stages of her baking, you know, trying to come off as this loving mother, this homey person that everyone can just relate to. The cake wasn't even perfect. It looked kind of off. And she's like, hey, I'm not perfect and you can relate to me and I'm such a nice person and I really love my kids. I'm a mom. You know, this whole like wholesome image that she's trying so desperately to make us believe. And I was thinking now when I see in every interview that Taylor Swift has been doing during this promo tour for The Life of a Showgirl, she's been talking about baking. Sourdough is her like big passion, but she's talking about baking. She's bringing baked goods to everyone. And I think that's why Blake posted this. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's just like, why would she start posting about this baking thing right now during this album release for Taylor? Also, thank you, Glenda, for sending me this, pointing out how Blake and Ryan is so desperately trying to make us look the other way right now because of this Van Zandt lawsuit that the judge is looking into, and he's taking it really seriously now. As you know, I spoke about the other day that Justin Baldoni's publicist, she's now starting her discovery and getting to the bottom of this super shady lawsuit that they filed to get hold of her phone. And this, as I said, is a disaster for both Blake and Ryan, who owns the company and probably instigated this whole thing. And now they're trying so hard to get the public to look the other way. As you know, Ryan has been out there every single day almost talking about John Candy and how kind he is and how amazing he is. And he's such a people pleaser. That's something he can really relate to himself. All this stuff. And now they even made New York Times do an article about their investment in this sailing company. It's called Sail GP, something that Ryan and Hugh Jackman did together. They invested in this company, and this guy keeps talking about how amazing Ryan is, and he's a genius. You can say, he says here that Ryan is a marketing genius. He's got a great sense of humor, and you can see what he's done with his other sport entities. Blah, blah, blah. You can see he's got his storyteller glasses on. He's asking all different questions. Oh, that's an interesting angle. But he's hilarious. Honestly, I don't know how they get him serious because he's just nonstop making jokes. People around him are like, come on, Ryan, we got to do this. And he's just making a joke about whatever they want him to do. He's hilarious. He's great. This is what the New York Times posted right now in the middle of this legal drama about this Van Zandt sham lawsuit. And the New York Times knows as well, when all this evidence comes out, they know that they reported on illegally obtained text messages to write this hit piece on Baldoni. Okay, so a little bit about Keith Urban today as well. As you know, I've been covering his and Nicole Kidman's divorce, and now, as you know, he's out on tour. And the other day he was changing out the lyrics for his guitarist, and there's a lot of rumors about them dating. I spoke about that yesterday as well. You can watch that video if you want to know more about that. But now he changed his lyrics again. When he was singing his hit song, You'll Think of Me, he changed the lyrics from take your space and take your reasons to take your space and your bullshit reasons. And everyone thinks that this is a dig at Nicole. And also this story here points out that he wasn't wearing his wedding ring when he came out of his private jet to sing at this arena. So I feel like there's some real tension here. And I feel like these two are not really on talking grounds right now. Yeah, I don't think Keith is in a good place right now. It must be so hard for him to go on stage every night and pretend like nothing and give this energy out there. That is very impressive to me that he keeps doing that. I don't think he needs to shade his wife though, if that's what he's trying to do that, because don't do that. Also, Karen, thank you for sending me this video of Zendaya. I don't know when this was, but it's so clear to me when you watch this that Zendaya, when here she's sitting in Fashion Week, I don't know which Fashion Week it is, but she's sitting next to Blake and she obviously cannot stand the woman. Just look at this. Yeah, you don't need to see more than that. Her body language just moving around from Blake. And then someone sent me this a couple of weeks ago. I forgot to show this, but now it makes so much sense when you hear Zendaya talk about haters on social media and how she deals with it. It's very different from how Blake deals with her haters.
You know, it doesn't really get to me as much. You know what I mean? You got to think in like the compassion sense of it. You know what I mean? That person online somewhere that I'll never meet in my life, they're going through something that I have no idea about. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And whatever they're going through could have been the highlight of their day to diss me. And okay, like, all right, that's fine. I'll take that.
Yes, that's a lot more mature to look at it that way than the way Blake looks at it and starts suing everyone around her and subpoenaing people who talks badly about her. Zendaya is like, yeah, they're probably not having a great day and they're letting it out on me, and that's totally fine. I love her and I love Tom Holland. I love their relationship. They're so cute together. I've seen them a few times. I saw them in India. They went to this event that I was covering over there. And you could see that they have like a really solid relationship. I met Tom Holland like many, many years ago. Before he was playing Spider-Man was the first time I interviewed him. And I remember I came into that room and I was like, this guy is going to be big. Just the way that he was holding himself and the way that he seemed so authentic and genuine. He was funny, he was smart, and he seemed like he had his head in the right place. So I ship this couple. I think that's what you say now, that you ship someone. I really like them together. So good for them and good for Zendaya to keeping her distance from Blake. Also, we have a little viral moment with Jennifer Lopez. She got asked about her divorce on NBC Good Morning or something like that. And she was so shocked by it and looked away and like, what is she asking me this?
In the middle of this, of filming this elaborate, beautiful musical, your divorce is also finalized with Ben. And,
there you go.
Well, but then I read that.
I have some mixed feelings about Jennifer Lopez. I've interviewed her many times, and I have to say she can be really harsh, but she's always, delivering. She's very professional in that way. But also, I feel like when she doesn't want to talk about her personal life, she made us really care about her personal life. She's been oversharing all her family stuff and her weddings, anniversaries, divorces, everything on social media. She's oversharing, I would say, with us. And then when things don't go her way and people still want to know the truth, she's like, no, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about my movie. And let's face it, most of her movies are not great. So, of course, what we want to hear about is her divorce from Ben Affleck. I remember I spoke to a reporter from one of these big tabloids not too long ago, and she told me how Ben has been feeding bad stories about Jennifer for a long time. This is what they do, you guys. They keep planting bad publicity, bad stories about people they don't like all the time. It's so dirty. And I'm sure Jennifer's done the same thing to Ben. Anyways, that's it for me, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And yes, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and hit the notification bell and all that good stuff. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.